Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy MMA Propaholic, and I am back with another full card breakdown. And I'm going to be doing a full card breakdown for UFC Kansas City. And yeah, guys, so let's sum up last week. Down 0.82 units. I was pretty confident in Pereira. He didn't come through. I was up like 4.1 units, and I think if Pereira won, I would have like been up like I think pretty sure like 1.4 units, but. Yeah, great read by Izzy. He landed that same right hand that he landed at the end of round one in the first fight in the UFC. And yeah, man, he caught Pereira. It was a great knockout. And credits to Izzy. My read was off, but it's a new week, guys. I think I got about like six bets right now. Probably eyeing about like three more. It's probably going to be like a low unit size card for me, but there are some spots that are sticking out, and there's some very questionable spots that I am considering. But yeah, guys, let's get into this card. To start off the night, we got Jocelyn Edwards, who is 27 years old. She's 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. She fights out of the Orthodox stance, and she fights out of King's MMA. And then we got Lucy Polilova. Terrible saying last names. She is 5'8", and she has a 67-inch reach. She is 28 years old, fighting out of the Orthodox stance as well, and she's fighting out of Octagon MMA. We got Lucy with five more professional fights and three more UFC fights. And yeah, guys, another women's MMA fight to open up a card, and I don't really think this is a pretty bad fight. I think most of this fight will probably take place on the feet, but I think Polidova can definitely mix in takedowns here. I mean, Edwards against Jessica Rose Clark, she just looked like a lost fish on the ground. She didn't even attempt to get up, and even when you look at her before that fight, she just didn't even look confident at all when they were about to ring the bell. She didn't even look like she wanted to be there at all. She does try to go for arm bars, but it's like she gets her left leg and she tries to put it on the back, and she kind of just sits there and guard. And she doesn't really like think about like losing minutes on her back. She's not even really trying to get her back up against the fence and moving. She's kind of just accepting being on her back, and she's kind of hunting for a submission. But it's like she rarely is hunting for a submission when she's on her back. Like the one thing that I could see Edwards doing in this fight is going for an armbar. The infamous women's MMA armbar. It's definitely live here. But I like Lucy in this spot, man. Like I went back and watched her UFC career. I did a lot of tape for this fight. Yesterday was actually this was the last fight that I actually taped for this card, and yeah, the Irene Aldana fight, man. I was shocked. I went on the Tapology and I'm like, okay, she lost this fight by split. I really want to watch and see how this fight went. Holy shit, man. If you guys have not watched Lucy Polidova versus Irene Aldana, go watch it, get a beer, get some weed. It's probably one of the best women's MMA fights I've ever seen. Both just standing and banging. Lucy was getting hit like a fucking she was just getting hit in the face, and she just kept walking forward, man. She hurt Aldana at the end of round one and even stunned her at the end of round two. And in the post fight interview, Aldana was just being asked, she really wanted to get the finish. And she's like, this is one of the most toughest girls I've ever faced. Like, she just kept walking forward. I hit her with everything that I had, and she just kept walking forward. And if Lucy could do that here against Edwards, I think Edwards is in really bad shape. Edwards likes to throw a lot of leg kicks at range. It was clearly shown in the past WoW fight. She attempted 87 leg kicks, which I really have just never seen from any fighter throwing that many leg kicks. But lots of them are tapping kicks. Lots of them are front kicks to the body. She likes to maintain range that way so she could try to get her hands going. But all Lucy does is she closes range. She looks pretty good in her last fight against Wu Yan. Like she looked really good. She got the fight to the ground and just viciously elbowed her out of there. She has a very wide stance. She fights out in a boxing stance, but she definitely is going to be objected to getting hit a lot in her inside leg here. She is very heavy on her front leg, but I mean, you look at Edwards' last two opponents, it's like Ramona Pasquale and Jiyeon Kim. Ramona Pasquale could arguably be one of the worst UFC fighters I've ever seen. Her technique is just pretty god awful. And she just walks forward like it's just really hard to watch her. And Pasquale hurt Edwards bad at the end of round one with a head kick. And even in round two, she was kind of initiating the pace in round two. Edwards looked gas, man. And this was at 145. She looked really more flat footed than she does at 135. So yeah, I guess I could take. She's gonna be the bigger lady here. She does have a 2 inch reach. She's got a 3 inch reach here, but she really likes to kick at range. And when you watch her last two fights, she was an underdog going into the third round with the fight that she wanted, and Kim didn't even shoot a takedown. Edwards defended 10 of the 11 takedowns that were shot on her against Pasquale, but guys, go watch the film, man. I mean, those takedown attempts from Pasquale, they didn't even look like attempts, man. They were just, I mean, it was clearly obvious of what she wanted to do. And you go and just watch Edwards, even against Luyan, like she was controlled for 283 seconds off one takedown. Like this girl can get controlled, and it's like you get the fight to the ground, you could steal a round off her, and when she gets taken down, she gets really pissed off. She just likes to kind of just throw in like 6 punch combinations, trying to knock out her opponent. And Bulldova is gonna walk this girl down. I think she's gonna win this fight, guys. I think she can really give Edwards a dogfight and really maybe even get a third round finish. I know lots of people are on the over 2.5. I don't hate the over 2.5, obviously. I mean, these girls are going to decision in most of their fights at the UFC, but I just don't want to parlay a minus 320 on a women's MMA fight to start the night. But as I talk about it, man, and as I just see it on the film, I really want to bet Pudilova really bad, and she's minus 135. She opened minus 170, and man, I mean, Wheezy, Brady, whole MMA community, get your oranges. Shit on me is all you want. I think I'm betting Moldova in this spot. I don't like this spot for Edwards, man. I don't think she's going to be able to maintain range. Her cardio's kind of shit. And the amount of front kicks she throws to the body, she's going to get caught once. They're going to catch her, and they're going to take her down. Kimber Pasquale didn't even attempt to do that in their last two fights. And you watch the Carol Rosa fight, and you watch the Jessica Rose Clark fight. I mean, anyone with like high fight IQ who's been in the UFC would do that. And I mean, Kim wasn't even throwing last fight too. Kim would explode, and she would just land the right hand every time, and she would kind of hurt Edwards, man. I don't like how Edwards' hands are low too. She breathes very heavily, and you could tell when she's tired because she's just throwing all these leg kicks, and she's not even setting them up. She's just nakedly throwing them. So yeah, I got Poodle over here, and I think I'm gonna bet her at minus 135, and might even sprinkle her round 3 prop just because I could see her just finishing Edwards in round 3. So I'm picking Pudilova to win this fight, but I will pick her to win by decision, and I might get to her money line. So let's move on to the next fight. We got returning Aaron Phillips after 3 years against Castano Bolanos. This is a great fight, guys. This is going to be a really fun fight. We got Phillips, who's 5'9" with a 71-inch reach, and then we got Bolanos, who is 5'7" with a 70.5-inch reach. And Phillips fights out of the southpaw stance, and Bolanos likes to switch stances. Mostly fights orthodox, though. He's training at a Combat Sports Academy, and Aaron Phillips is training at Head Kicks MMA. So, yeah, returning Aaron Phillips, 3 fights in the UFC. The fights that he's kind of losing in the UFC, he's getting wrestled, he's getting grappled. Bolanos is not going to do that at all. Bolanos is straight, kind of like a Muay Thai fighter, and has fought a couple of kickboxing fights in his career. He's 6-3, I'm pretty sure, in Bellator, but the guys he's beaten are kind of bums. And the one loss that he had, he just looked really bad on the ground. Solo Hatley Jr. was just taking him down at will. I was pretty shocked that they even scored the fight a split. I have no idea how they even gave Bolanos a round. Bolanos' takedown defense just looked really bad. I mean, Hatley was shooting these takedowns from just way far out, and he was just getting them very easy. Bolanos has been submitted twice in his UFC career. He doesn't really have a BJJ game, and as Aaron Phillips is a BJJ black belt. He's actually, he's not like he hasn't been training. He's been doing like all these events for kids in his gym, and he's been doing a bunch of grappling tournaments, wrestling tournaments, just MMA fights in general, just teaching kids. So, and I'm pretty sure he's like kind of had a kid. Pretty sure his kid is around like 3 or 4 years old. If I could be wrong, I'm sorry, but yeah, pretty sure that kind of validates his 3-year layoff. But yeah, guys, Balanos hits hard. I would say that he sets up his technical striking to land his powerful shots, and his spinning back elbow is fucking disgusting. That's basically his go-to strike. But both of these guys are technical on the feet, man. Phillips is like kind of that karate style fighter. He'll try to mix in a takedown or two. He did it on his regional scene, but I mean, he's not going to attempt a takedown against Jack Shore. And when Jack Shore was taking him down, he was getting up, but he's not going to have to worry about getting taken down here. I think this is going to be a very technical fight on the feet. I think Aaron Phillips is live for a submission if he wants to get this fight to the ground, but Balanos doesn't really give up his back. I mean, it's 2 submission losses. It's from when his opponents are kind of on his back when he kind of gets top mount. So when he knocks his opponents down, he'll just kind of go into their guard and he'll just sit there. He really shouldn't do that against Phillips. I mean, that's how Balanos has lost his last few fights. I'm sorry if I keep saying his last name wrong. But yeah, I bet the over 1.5 here. I know a lot of people don't like it. I bet it at -140. I bet it for 1.05 units. It's currently now -170 on DraftKings. So I did beat a little bit of line movement, but I just feel like this fight is going to be very technical in the first round. Phillips coming back off a 3-year layoff. I don't really see him engaging himself into a war, and that's obviously what Gaston's going to want in this fight. But Gaston's more technical, man, and I really feel like he knows this is kind of his one shot at the UFC. You don't really see a lot of Bellator guys with especially 9 fights on their record just being able to actually get signed to the UFC. I really haven't seen it happen for the past 1.5 years. I've been watching the UFC. But yeah, Gaston's kind of the first one. I think this is going to be a really good fight. And honestly, guys, I'm probably going to pick the dog here in Aaron Phillips. I'm picking Aaron Phillips to win this fight by decision. I just feel like he's going to land the heavier leg kicks. I feel that he can mix in the takedowns. And as I said before, when Gaston's on his back, he kind of just sits there like Jocelyn Edwards, and he doesn't really try to get up. He kind of just accepts losing minutes. And then when he gets back up on the feet, that's kind of when he's like, all right, I'm back on the feet. I'm going to try to set up my spinning back elbow. Not really realizing with all the time that he kind of has left in the round and in the fight. So, yeah, I think the over's a really good bet here. I think it's a sweat. But I like it. I mean, I just think it's a pretty good spot. I am a little nervous. Obviously, I'm always nervous betting an over, guys. I fucking hate overs. I really have been adapting to them more now because I checked my record on overs on BetMMA Tips. I don't have the tab up right now. I'll pull it up while I'm talking about a fight, and because I have another over on this card, so I can tell you guys my track record on overs. It's it shocked me because I'm not an over guy, and yeah, for the past 8 months, I've been tracking MMA, and I got my over record on there. Thank you, BetMMA Tips. I love BetMMA Tips, where I track all my bets. And yeah, I'm picking Aaron Phillips. I'm picking Aaron Phillips to win this fight by decision, and I already have a 1.05 unit bet on the over 1.5 at -140. So yeah, guys, let's move on. See what we got next here. Okay, I'm actually pretty hyped for this fight. We got Bruna Brazil versus Denise Gomez. This is going to be a great fight, guys. I really like Bruna Brazil's striking. She's more of a kickboxer than she is when she lets go of her hands. I watched her LFA fight, man, and she looked like the girl from Scream with the look in her eyes when she would just stare down Yasmin. I mean, Yasmin is also straight jiu-jitsu practitioner. She's not really a striker, and I was a little shocked that Bruna Brazil kind of took it very light. I think she took it very light, knowing that she kind of can get taken down and how she kind of likes to maintain distance with her with her kicks. And then she was also saying in that camp that she was training very heavy on throwing a punch and then throwing up a head kick and kind of just throwing in like 2 power combinations. That's what she was really anticipating in that LFA fight. And even against Marnik Mann, I mean, oh my God, she beat 2 shades of shit out of her, man. I mean, Marnik Mann got hurt in the first 12 seconds with a front kick straight to the solar plexus. She is very, and Bruna Brazil is very accurate with her leg kicks and where she has the placement on them. And then we got Denise Gomez, who is just gonna walk forward, man. I mean, oh my god, go watch the Denise Gomez versus see her name right here, Miliana. I can't say her last name. Just Miliana. I don't even want to say it. I'm gonna get fucking clowned in the comments for trying to pronounce last names. But I mean, it was a war. She got her back taken in like the first round. She got knocked down like twice in the second round, and in the third round, she just came at her, man. She just beat the crap out of her. I was so like just shocked with the way that she was able to win that fight. She has 2 decisions wins. She has a decision loss. 3 of these let me see actually. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, all of Bruna Brazil's losses come inside a distance, but she's on a 7-fight win streak. Last time she got finished was a knee injury. I'm pretty sure she kind of blew out her knee in that fight. Came back 2 years later. And since she came back 2 years later, she's been on a 7-fight win streak. I see a lot of people bet Gomez early, and I don't blame you guys at all. I mean, you go watch the Loma fight. Like, she was just Loma was unleashing on her. Loma was kind of taking her down very easy, but the amount of submissions that Gomez was attempting off her back and had Loma in a really bad spot at the end of round 1. And even in round 3, man, round 3, she had her in a really bad spot too. Both of these ladies bring violence. I think stylistically, this is a pretty good violence spot, knowing that Brazil is going to throw a lot of head kicks and how Gomez is. The one thing that is, Gomez is very tough. She's pretty damn durable. It is shown. I mean, she gets hit in the face, man, and so does Bruna Brazil. Both of these ladies have pretty shitty striking defense, and when Gomez closes that distance, she's gonna make Brazil fight a fight that she doesn't want, and Gomez is gonna get in her face, man. I'm a little shocked that the fight doesn't go. Is plus money here? I don't have a bet on this fight yet, but I do lean violence here. Like the over 2.5 and minus 210. I don't know why the fuck the over 2.5 is minus 210. I guess because this is women's MMA. But man, I think violence is a pretty underrated spot here. I don't think a lot of people are on violence, but I might get there. I mean, even the fight to end by knockout, I saw plus 225 on DraftKings. Bet Rivers will give me plus 260. I'm just waiting on Bet Rivers to drop the props. But yeah, I just think this fight's going to end, man. I think Brazil is very live for a knockout. I think Gomez is extremely live for a knockout. She's power in her hands, man. She was hurting Loma bad when she was closing distance with her, and Loma is an extremely good Muay Thai striker and knows how to keep distance very well. And like about 6 UFC fights under her belt as well. So, picking to win this fight, I'm picking Bruna Brazil to win by knockout, but via head kick, but if she can't get her range going in and Gomez just decides to walk her down, it's just gonna be a long fight for Bruna Brazil because people have been giving the fight that Bruna Brazil wants, and Gomez is not an easy task, and she is not going to give you the fight you want. But yeah, picking violence. I'm picking Bruna Brazil via TKO/KO in round 2. Yeah, guys, a lot of line movement too. She's minus 149 now. Staying away from this fight on a money line perspective. I might get here on a violence bet. But let's move on to fight number 4. We got, oh man, here we go. I've been receiving a lot of shit about this one, man. We got Daniel Zellhuber versus Lando Venata, and we got Zellhuber, who is 23, Venata, who is 31. Venata is 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. And we got Zellhuber, who is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. And yeah, Venata's got, obviously, he has the experience over him. Has 7 more professional fights than Zellhuber. Has 11 more UFC fights than him. Yeah, Venata's been through it all in the UFC, man. Venata is very tough. I kind of think his durability is kind of starting to go away. In the Bobby Green fight, they have him listed getting knocked down once. I could have sworn he got knocked down twice in that fight, and they just didn't mark it. And even in the Charles Jourdain fight, like Charles Jourdain just landed a pistol sniper left-handed range and just dropped him pretty easy. And they didn't even list a knockdown there too. I thought that was a clean knockdown. Yeah, Zellhuber, man. I bet Zellhuber. I bet him really early, and I was so confident in him in his last fight against Trey Ogden because, I mean, who isn't confident against Trey Ogden when you especially think that he can't get the fight to the ground and it's just going to be a striking fight? But yeah, I got Zellhuber at minus 240. Closed like pretty sure like minus 430, and he shit the bed, man. He shit the bed. He shit my night, and I just remember just being damaged, man. I was so mad. I I wasn't even more mad at myself. I was so disappointed at him for just not even trying to throw any volume in that fight. Trey Ogden was just standing at range. Also had James Cross in his corner, was throwing tons of leg kicks. He kind of threw off Zellhuber. Zellhuber made his UFC debut. A lot of hype coming on him, and he got into a fucking dogfight against Almeida. Almeida brought the fight to him, and when I watched Zellhuber's regional scene, no one was really ever bringing the fight to Zellhuber. Like, Zellhuber kind of just walked through everyone, looked very dominant. I really like Zellhuber striking. I think he's very good at maintaining range. He also has a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight, which I honestly think is going to be the big dividend in this fight. And throws very good leg kicks. And like with Venata, like 131 of 156 leg kicks have landed on this guy. He doesn't check any leg kicks. He hasn't also faced anyone with over a 4.5-inch reach advantage on him in his whole entire UFC career, which I just think is really just going to play big here. And I think Zellhuber is going to get that performance out of his head. I think Zellhuber is going to have a great fight here. Lando is a dog, man. Lando's going to walk forward. He's going to try to throw big bombs. But when you watch Lando and how he's winning his fights, it's at range. And I understand Trey Ogden won at range, but, you know, it was also the corner and the game plan and how he just didn't even bring the fight to him at all. Guys, Lando Venata, we know he brings the fight every time. He's going to make Zellhuber fight, and I think if he makes Zellhuber fight, it's going to be a fucking nightmare. I don't think it's a good matchup for Lando. Lando could mix in the takedowns, but it's like, dude, this kid Zellhuber is not a slouch on the ground. He has a calf slicer, and I've seen him on his regional tape, man. He has very, very good Kimura traps. He sets up his Kimura traps very well, and you know, I think he could really. I think he's going to be physically stronger here. Venata just also coming back up to 155 and coming at such like a height disadvantage, a reach disadvantage. I just don't like it. He was really much better at 145, and even when you go back and you watch the Mike Grundy fight, like, Mike Grundy was just trying to take him down the whole entire time. Like, Daniel Zellhuber's not going to try to take him down the whole entire time. Grundy threw like 60-something strikes that fight too. And it was like almost every time he was throwing, the right hand was landing, but he was putting his power into every shot and kind of gassed himself wrestling. That's what Mike Grundy does. And he was still hurting Venata. Bobby Green knocked down Venata. Venata just got subbed out of his shorts as well. He's coming back. This is a year later. Man, if Zellhuber just doesn't, when you hit Zellhuber too, he just doesn't even like, he doesn't make a facial expression. He doesn't do any of that. Like, he just kind of eats it and he just keeps walking. And man, if he fights the way he did against Lucas Almeida, he's going to fuck this guy up. I mean, he's 8 years younger than him. He has a 6-inch reach advantage. He's the way better striker at range. It's like, the only thing I give Venata is the UFC experience. And I give the durability to Zellhuber. Zellhuber's training at fucking Mexico in high altitude, man. I mean, it was like 7,300 feet. I mean, like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I'm taking Zellhuber, man. I'm going to back him up again here, and I bet him. I bet him for 0.84 units. I was going to go unit, but then I'm like, it's Zellhuber. And now I still have a little bit hard trusting him in this fight, but man, I just think he's such a better fighter here. And I think he's more hungrier at this point of his career, especially just coming off the shittiest fucking performance of his life. And if he doesn't come out here and he does what he did against Trey Ogden and he repeats himself again, I'm going to be ashamed and I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. So, yeah, man, I'm taking Zellhuber, and I'm going to take Zellhuber by decision. But I don't really think a finish is very live in this fight. I think this fight's gonna go to decision. I think Zellhuber is gonna win the minutes here, but Venata's gonna have to try to win some moments in this spot, and it's really hard to win a moment against a guy like Zellhuber is just so goddamn durable and is so tough. I mean, the Almeida fight just completely backs it up. I mean, amount of times this guy's getting hit in the face and he just keeps walking forward and he just keeps throwing out his jab. And that was something also he wasn't even doing in his last fight. He was barely utilizing his jab. And it was just really concerning. It didn't look like how he was in his regional tape at all. And even in the contender series fight. So yeah, man. And it's crazy because that was a year later. I mean, maybe the confidence just kind of overgrew in his head, and he thought he could do. He thought he could win however the fuck he wanted. But yeah, man, I think Zellhuber now realizes that you actually need to fight in order to win a fight. So I'm going with the Zellhuber money line, 0.84 units at -120. I bet that you guys can get -126 right now, and yeah, people have been giving me shit on Twitter. I really hope it hits. So yeah, I'm backing them up here, and we can move on to Jillian Robertson versus Piera Rodriguez. We got Robertson with she's 5'5" with a 63-inch reach, and we got Rodriguez who is 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. Robertson fights out of the Orthodox, and Rodriguez fights out of Orthodox as well. And yeah, we got Rodriguez training out of Black House MMA, and then Robertson training out of the Goat Shed. And yeah, Jillian coming back. She's coming down in weight for the very first time in her career, which I thought it was a little odd. She didn't really have a good gas tank at 125. I don't really see it kind of improving at 115. Yeah, we obviously know how Jillian wants to fight. She wants to get the fight to the ground, has terrific back takes, most submissions in UFC women's history. Rodriguez really hasn't seen a BJJ Crackner yet, but she's training with Tabitha Ricci. And I forgot who else she's training with, but she's training with BJJ Black Belt, so it's obviously what she has been preparing for this whole entire camp coming up to this fight. We know Jillian can't really get the takedown. She kind of sucks on the feet, tends to lose a lot of minutes. She's very hittable. She's very low volume. Her takedown entries honestly are pretty shit too. Like the way she really has to get you is if she can get her leg and trying to wrap it around your body and then twist you around and get your back up against the fence. That's her world right there. But Rodriguez is a legitimate striker, man. I don't think she's bad at all. She fought pretty close with Kay Hansen, which I thought was a little concerning, and even Sam Hughes. So I can't really back her up in this spot. But she is training with the right people for this fight. I see Jillian by sub is plus 275. I mean, if you're just gonna bet Jillian, I really feel like that's the way to bet her. She's rarely kind of winning decisions. She's 2-5 in decisions, guys. 8-1 in submissions and 1-1 in knockouts. So she's now the favorite, and you guys can basically get her at plus 275 in her submission prop, which I might get to. And I might play Rodriguez round 2 KO and round 3 KO because Rodriguez hits hard, man. She hits hard for 115, has 4 knockouts on her record, and this Jillian's cutting down in weight. If she can't get the takedowns early, I don't know how she's gonna react with this weight cut. She barely kind of was coming in on flyweight. I mean, she was coming in flyweight looking good, but her cardio would fade, man. And I feel like just coming down, it's really gonna make it a little bit worse. She's never done this cut in her life, and her last fight was a grappling fight at like 130. So I don't know, man. It kind of concerns me a little bit. I basically want to take Rodriguez KO2 and KO3, just kind of fading the durability of Jillian, especially if she can't get this fight to the ground. I think she's pretty much fucked. But yeah, even Rodriguez by decision only sticks out a little bit, but she can lose minutes on her back. It's definitely objected here, especially to a girl like Jillian. But yeah, it's a BJJ girl versus a striker. They're all over violence. I can't bet the fight doesn't go in -135. It just really, it's not really something I really want to bet. But if I was to bet violence here, and I might do it, bet Jillian by sub. And you just bet Rodriguez KO 2 and KO 3. And I just feel like it's kind of the best way to approach this fight. Picking to win this fight, fuck, man. I've been going back and forth at it. Oh man, I think I'm gonna pick. Fuck, I think I'm gonna pick Rodriguez here, and I might pick Rodriguez by third round KO. It's like I could just really see it happening. It's currently plus 1,800. I think that's a pretty big number. Maybe it should be a little. Maybe it should be like plus 2,000, but I don't hate it. But I might not get to it. But it's kind of my best way of approaching this fight. So let's move on. Now we got. Oh my god, I'm gonna keep this one fucking short, man. Ed Herman versus Zach Cummings. I don't even want to go through the age. I don't even want to go through the fucking reach. I just want to skip this fight. Would you guys be mad if I just skipped this fight? I mean, if you bet this fight, man, Ed Herman is 42 years old, and Zach Cummings is 39, 38, and a former 170er coming up to 205. I mean, just looks terrible, man. You go on his Instagram, he just looks terrible. He really does look bad. Honestly, the more I think about it, it's like Ed Herman is 42 years old. And would it even shock me if Ed Herman got a knockout here? No. I mean, Zach Cummings is very low volume. I think Ed hits harder than Zach, and he's never been at 205 in his life. So Herman's probably going to be the hardest hitter he's ever going to face. Damn, I mean, the way I'm kind of breaking it down now, I want to fucking bet Ed Herman by KO. I'm just fucking clowning everyone for trying to bet this fight. And now, look who's the clown now, guys. Look at the irony. But, yeah, I mean, I watched Ed Herman's last fight against Menifield, and it was, I am shocked that he's even coming back and he's fighting. His calf looked like you just took two baseballs and you cut his like calf open and you just installed two baseballs into his leg. It just looked god awful. He didn't check a damn leg kick. But Alonzo hits, he throws hard, man, and he hits with the kitchen sink. Even before that, like Ed Herman was on a 3-fight winning streak, and Ed Herman finished in 9 losses. We got Zach Cummings, who has been finished, never been knocked out. Kind of might take me off that KO prop now. 12-2 in submissions. He is more of a submission grappler. I mean, I think he can get Ed Herman to the ground. I don't really think it's that hard to get Ed Herman to the ground, but I honestly don't give a shit about this fight at all. I'm probably going to watch it, but that's probably when I just start slamming my beers and I just don't even look at a live bet. And it's probably when I go smoke a joint or some shit. I honestly don't give a shit about this fight. I'm sorry if you guys do. I just don't, so I'm going to skip it. But I think I talked about it long enough. Zach Cummings and Ed Herman, if you guys end up seeing this, I'm sorry, but can you two just please let the younger fighters fight and just not, like, have to make us watch this? I understand Zach Cummings is from Kansas City, Missouri, but it's like, I mean, does anyone in Kansas City give a fuck? I mean, I have no idea. So, yeah, let's move on. Very, very hyped that's out of the way. All right, let's get the next fight. We got Brandon Royval versus Nicolau. Oh, man, thank God we go from Ed Herman to Zach Cummings, and we go to Royval versus Nicolau. Should be on the main card. We can't even complain we're getting the fight, thank God. This is going to be a great fight, man. This is probably the fight that I'm most interested in. We got Royval, who is 5'9", with a 68-inch reach. He's 30 years old. Nicolau's 30 years old as well. He's 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. Royval fighting out of the southpaw stance, fighting out of Factory X. And we got Nicolau, who is fighting out of the Orthodox and fighting out of Nova Ioana, if I said that right. Both have the same amount of professional fights. It's Nicolau with 2 more UFC fights. And yeah, guys, I bet the under 2.5. I bet it pretty early. I bet it at plus 135. Only went half a unit. I maybe should have went more on it. But I really like the spot. I think that Royval is gonna bring the dog out of Nicolau, and Nicolau, I'm pretty sure, has the second most knockdowns in the flyweight division. He has 8 knockdowns. And I mean, what do we know about Roy Val? He just stands up and he gets hit like repetitively. And Roy Val fights like an absolute crackhead. He is a killer be killed fighter. And the bookies just they fucked up giving the under 2.5 at plus 135. Like even at minus 120, I like the bet. Like Roy Val's gonna bring the fight to him. This is gonna be a war. Even against Bonifim, like he was getting in his face like a lot, and that fight went to decision. But Bonifim was kind of just taking him down and just kind of laying on him. He really wasn't trying to go for a submission or any of that. Man, this fight is gonna be awesome, man. I wanted to bet Nicolau at minus 155, but I already had money on the under 2.5, so I kind of just let it slide. He's now minus 210, so I am regretting it a little bit, but the guy is pretty low volume when you don't bring a fight to him, and especially when someone wants to stand at range, but that's not Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval is going to try to get this fight to the ground as well, which honestly could put himself into a pretty bad spot. And watch the last fight, man. He got dropped against Max Schnell. I kind of see that to be a little concerning, especially that it was in the very first 2 minutes of the round. Finished in two of his UFC losses, and you even watch the Pantoja fight, man. Like he had Pantoja hurt bad, but Pantoja was just able to get the back and get him out of there. And yeah, Nicolau is very slick black belt as well. I just feel like honestly that Nicolau is one of the more slept on people in this division. He's been knocked out in his UFC career. I went back and watched it against Dustin Ortiz, and Dustin Ortiz was feinting the head kicks, and it was basically the second head kick he landed. He just dropped him, and Nicolau didn't know where he was at. Roy Val's very heavy with his kicking game. He throws a lot of high head kicks, and he's definitely going to go from here, especially if he went back and watched the Dustin Ortiz fight. Yeah, I think violence is a great spot here, even at minus 120. Maybe at that price, it is a little concerning because it is, you got a guy in there in Nicolau, like you kind of have to bring the fight to him in order for him to really start kind of bringing violence. But we know Brandon Royval is going to bring the fight to him, man. I am pretty pissed that this fight's on the prelims. I'm going to pick Nicolau to win this fight, and I'm going to pick him to win by KO. His KO prop is very intriguing too. It's at like plus 400. Possibly could be adding to this fight and be betting that because I think that line is really off. I mean, the guy has power in his hands, and he is so fast with his hands, man. He is so quick, and he hits like a truck, especially for 125. So picking Nicolau to win this fight, I'm picking him to win by TKO in the second round. Yeah, guys, banger of a fight. And let's move on. I'm pretty sure this is the last fight of the prelims. Oh no, it's not. I got 2 more fights. Oh no, this is wow. Man, they got Guido and Garcia on the main card over. Man, come on. It's a good fight, but man. We got TJ Brown versus Bill Algeo. We got Bill Algeo, who is 6 foot with a 73-inch reach, and we got TJ Brown, who's 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. He fights out of the switch stance as Brown does, and so does Bill Algeo. Algeo has his own gym, Teen Titans, and TJ Brown at Glory Westside. I looked on his Instagram. He's actually fighting with Luis Pena and Bryce Mitchell. They're in Mexico and they're working on their striking. So I feel like that's going to be a pretty big thing coming into this fight. Obviously, we know Bill Algeo, not really the best takedown defense in the world, but he has pretty good sprawls. I mean, 54% takedown defense is pretty bad, especially on 46 shots on you. Man, this line is just bad. I'm really shocked with this line. I really feel like a lot of Bill Algeo backers are kind of just fading TJ Brown because TJ Brown has lost them money. Who hasn't TJ Brown lost money? I mean, TJ Brown has lost a lot of people money with his dumb fucking decisions in the cage sometimes. But yeah, the last 2 wins, like Joannison Brito is like kind of like a round 1 or be killed fighter going into that fight. He had a lot of his, I'm pretty sure like almost all of his finishes were in the first round leading up to that fight, and he really never got extended. And he kind of gassed in that fight. He got extended there. Herbert Burns, I mean, Herbert Burns probably has like a close cardio compared to Harry Hunsucker. Herbert Burns' cardio is shit, and Herbert Burns got him down early. I understand Burns is like I don't think it's like a 4-degree black belt or something in BJJ, but yeah, listed as exhaustion from damage. I mean, I was at that card, and when me and my friends saw Herbert Burns getting carried out of the arena, I'm like, he is never coming back for a UFC fight. There's just no fucking way that this guy could ever come back and fight ever again. And the Feely fight, Bill Algeo has a great jab. I love how he throws his jab out there. He throws in pretty good combinations. He'll try to throw in inside leg kicks once in a while, but man, TJ Brown has a good all around MMA game. He was with James Cross, then he kind of switched gyms, and then he switched gyms again. I think he's fighting with West Side Fight Team, but he kind of went to Mexico for his camp. I think this TJ Brown has shot 34 takedowns and he lands 52% of them, 18 to 34 takedowns. Has a 31% takedown defense, but it's more of when he's in top now. And he just kind of loses position. He gets sprawled. But man, the one thing I like about Brown, he's always moving, man. I mean, people are like, yeah, he fades. I mean, look at the fucking pace he fights at. Like, who wouldn't fade? And he goes to decision. It is crazy. Like, TJ Brown's 14 of his 17 wins come inside the distance. He should have won the Marin fight. And to get a guy like Marin down and even control him, and Marin was really good wrestling out of China top team, very good wrestler in China. And he was able to win minutes on the ground, but he sold the third round. He got swept and he sold it. The Rosa fight, he was in a pretty bad spot in the Rosa fight as well. Kai Kamaki, he got knocked down, but at the end of the third round, last minute, he stole the fight. TJ Brown does fight very close. I think this is a very close fight. Man, I don't really have a read on this fight. I don't really want to bet it, but I think TJ Brown's line is a little wide. And I think his knockout prop is a little bit ridiculous. I understand that he only has 4 knockouts, but he does throw pretty hard and he hits pretty hard. It's plus 1,600. I don't really want to bet it, but I mean, that's kind of like the fattest number bet I can give out on this fight. Algeo should really win the minutes here at range. He is the better striker. He definitely has a way better jab than Brown. Like, I really feel like if Brown kind of can't get this fight to the ground and win minutes there, I don't really see how he kind of wins this fight. Unless the new improved striking comes and he's looking like a completely new fighter on the feet, which he's been there for the whole entire camp. So we might see a little bit of a different game out of TJ Brown. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna pick TJ Brown to win this fight by decision. I just think he's the better minute winner here, especially when the fight gets to the ground. He is definitely the better minute winner here when this fight gets to the ground. Can Bill Algeo sweep him? Yeah, he definitely can. I mean, he has pretty good sweeps. He doesn't have bad counter wrestling, but that 54% takedown defense, man, that is very alarming, especially with a guy like Brown who just pushes the pace and wants to get to the fight to the ground and has shown that he can win tons of minutes. 34% control time compared to 25% control time. He's winning those positions. And you look at Bill Algeo, man, he's getting 20% control time and getting controlled 28% of the time. So he's losing his control time positions. And TJ Brown has 60% of his fight taking place in control time, and he's winning those positions. And Bill Algeo's losing them. So yeah, I think this is a little bit of a wide line. I wanted to get Brown at plus 180. I just didn't end up getting there. I still have some tape to finalize on the fight. So, yeah, now I'm going to pick TJ Brown, and I'm going to pick TJ Brown to win this fight by split decision. I think this fight's going to end by split. I think that's a very good bet on this fight. I mean, TJ Brown just fights close in every goddamn fight. So, yeah, fight to end by split decision. I wish I could actually take fights to end by split decision. I can only bet people to win by split decision as a straight bet on William Hill because I'm in New York. So, yeah, if you guys can get access to fight to end by split decision, I'd I don't hate that at all. Just because I think this fight's going to be very close, especially with the money line on Algio. If you got Bill Algio at minus 150, I mean, you did your job. That's a very good line on Algio in this fight, but like just minus 190, like close to kind of getting a parlay piece. I I don't like it. But let's move on. We're finally at the main card. I'm already 45 minutes into this video. It's probably going to be a longer video than my last breakdown. So I guess that's if you guys like these long breakdown videos. We got Clay Guida versus Rafa Garcia, and we got my bad guys, I'm pulling up the stats. We got Rafa Garcia, who is 28 years old. He's going to be 13 years younger than Clay Guida, man. Clay Guida fighting out of the Orthodox stance, fighting out of Team Alpha Male, and we got Rafa Garcia now fighting out of Orthodox stance and training at Elevation. The problem for Garcia early in his career was the cardio. It's been resolved. I'm very glad that it got resolved because this guy has tons of skill. Very good boxer, has really implemented his grappling into his fights now, which I just think is going to make him a completely better and more of just a fighter to really struggle against. I don't really like this fight for Clay Guida. No one's really trying to wrestle Clay Guida as well, and I think Rafa Garcia is going to have way more explosion. I think he's going to have way better combinations. He's 13 years younger, and if you watch the Clay Guida fight against Scott Holtzman, I actually lived Clay Guida. I'm pretty sure maybe midway round 2, I lived him at like plus 300, and I just remember going into that third final round, man, like, holy shit, am I about to hedge out of this bet? Because he looked like he was fucking dying, and it just looked bad. It wasn't a good look. Holtzman honestly even said that he really didn't even want to be there. He was just fighting his retirement fight, kind of getting a paycheck, and then just walking into the sunset. So I didn't really see him taking that fight serious, and I damn well know that Rafa Garcia is coming into this fight and he's taking it serious. We got Clay Guida, submitted 11 times in his career, only knocked out twice, but Clay Guida does a very good job at defending at range. I mean, he has a 62% distance defense, which I think is very good, but his reaction time obviously is starting kind of to go down. His durability is kind of starting to fade, and I feel like if Clay Guida is to even win minutes of this fight, he really has to urgently get this fight to the ground. I don't think he's going to win minutes on the feet. I honestly kind of think he's fucked on the feet. Clay Guida doesn't really have the best striking. We obviously know he's known for his wrestling, and I mean, just go watch the Leonardo Santos fight. I mean, fight should have been stopped. I don't know how the fight didn't get stopped. Even the Puleas fight, he just got knee barred. He even just tried to take him down, and he was just playing jiu-jitsu with him. So it just kind of showed me like how desperate this guy really is to get the fight to the ground, because he knows that's really where he can only win minutes at this age. I think this is it for Clay Guida. I parlayed Rafa Garcia at minus 250. Not really confident in him getting a finish, so I kind of just parlayed his money line because I think it's really safe. I would rather just have his money line instead of laying like inside a distance or laying him by decision, because I think he can win however the fuck he wants. I think he can knock Guida out. I think he can win by submission. I think he can win by decision. I think he can win this fight any way he wants. So I'm going to take Rafa Garcia to win this fight. I already have a bet on him. And I'm going to take Rafa Garcia to win by decision. And even when you guys go watch the Guida versus Mark Madsen fight, I mean, Mark Madsen shot one takedown. Mark Madsen, just known for his wrestling, won a striking match with Clay Guida. I cannot get that out of my head. Rewatched that fight. I maybe thought Guida won, but hey, man, they still gave the win to Mark Madsen. And clearly the judges just were not impressed with the striking of Clay Guida. So, yeah, just not a good look at all, losing a striking battle to Mark Madsen. But we're going to move on. We got Pedro Munoz versus Chris Gutierrez. And we got Gutierrez, who is 31 years old, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach, fighting out of the Orthodox stance. He trains out of Factory X. And we got Munoz, who's 5 years older, at 36 years old. He is 5'6", with a 65-inch reach, and he has about 9 more UFC fights than Gutierrez. I bet Pedro Munoz, scorecards equals no action, which is his finish only money line at plus 140. I was just like, as soon as I saw the line, I pulled the trigger because I mean they're giving me a Pedro Munoz finish only prop at plus money. But yeah, Chris Gutierrez throws heavy leg kicks. That's exactly what Pedro Munoz does as well. Chris Gutierrez really isn't going in there against people who are trying to kick his leg, and that is what Munoz is going to do. He's very great at checking these leg kicks as well. And go watch the O'Malley fight, man. He had O'Malley hurt with those leg kicks. I really feel I kind of thought at the time he was kind of bullshitting the IPO because he started to get hit with a couple of left hands, but Chris Gutierrez doesn't have the hands of Sean O'Malley. Chris Gutierrez just likes to kick the legs. Knocked out Frankie Edgar. Really just honestly doesn't impress me. Edgar at that age. Backrell, it's like Backrell's just a straight one-dimensional striker who just throws power into every single shot. Felipe Corrales, I probably said the last name wrong, fought very close, was getting his leg chopped in that fight, and only won by a split decision. Went to a draw with Durden. It's just like minus 205 on this guy. No thank you at all, man. No thank you at all. Because if Munoz can get this fight to the ground, he has the better BJJ. I think he could submit Gutierrez. Gutierrez has been submitted in his only loss. Yeah, Munoz has never lost inside a distance. I don't ever see him losing inside a distance. I mean, I think if you whack this guy with a baseball bat in the bridge, that he would just stand there and he would take him. He would just fucking laugh at you. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be able to finish this guy. Maybe I'll eat my words this Saturday if Chris Gutierrez can just absolutely chop the legs. But, yeah, man, Munoz has great hands as well. Like, I think he has better hands than Gutierrez. And I think it's a great way to bet Munoz in this spot because, like, he's 6-7 in decisions, and it's better just not sweat him to win by decision, and you could just sweat him if he gets finished. His finish only prop at plus 140, I did it for 0.40 units, and I like the spot. I just really think it's an underrated spot in this card, and they're giving you plus money on it. I feel like it's the way to bet him just in case he loses a decision. But should be a great fight. Both guys are going to trade leg kicks. Both guys are just durable as hell. But the finishing upside, I see it's on Munoz' side. But I'm gonna pick Munoz to win this fight. Maybe by third round submission. I mean, you're talking out of my ass now, but if he can get this fight to the ground and he could chop the leg and stop the movement of Gutierrez and he shoots the takedowns, which I think he's going to be shooting here, and Chris Gutierrez has shown that he'll pull for a guillotine, and if he pulls for a guillotine here, he's not getting it against Munoz. So, yeah, I like Munoz in this spot at dog money, but like his finish only more, so I don't have to sweat the guy losing a decision because that's the way he loses this fight. But moving on, we got the Hulk versus Tanner Boser. We got Kutalaba, who is 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. He's 31 years old. And we got Boser, who is 6'1", fighting out of the southpaw stance, coming down from heavyweight to 205. Yeah, I first thing I obviously see when I see a Kutalaba fight, I want to bet violence. But I mean, I saw minus 280, and I digged into Tanner Boser, and I'm like, dude, the last time Tanner Boser's been finished was 8 years ago. It wasn't 6 seconds, but 8 years ago, man. And the guy's fighting at heavyweight. I don't know, man. Like minus 280 by his decision. Fight doesn't go as crazy. I think Kutalaba can win tons of minutes here. I think he's very objective to winning minutes here on the ground. Tanner Boser's ground game is pretty shit. It's shown. And I go through his Instagram. It's like, you're coming back down in weight against a guy who heavy wrestles. And I'm looking at the people you train with, and it's like, you're not training with a big body at all, man. You're kind of training with people who are undersizing you. Like, it's not going to help you against the Hulk, man. Especially when this guy is just always in your face. But, it's the cardio that is a little bit of a problem. But it's like his cardio isn't even the worst thing ever. It's just his fucking striking defense and the way he paces himself. This guy can't pace himself. And if he knew how to pace himself, I would probably be betting him in this spot. And I just can't trust Kutalaba, man. It's very hard for me to bet a guy and trust him who is 1-4-1 in his last 6 fights in the UFC. I'm pretty shocked the UFC didn't even cut him. They clearly like the Hulk. They know he brings fire. They know he brings a lot of fun to fights. But Tanner Bozer's the way I bet Bozer is probably round 2, round 3. Because just kind of fading Kutalaba's cardio. But you know, a prop that's been interesting this week. I've seen a lot of sharp tappers on it. Kutalaba by not the split decision, my bad, by decision plus 700. I mean, he's the minute winner here. He really is. I mean, Tanner Bozer's pretty fucking low volume, and he doesn't really land powerful shots on the feet at all. Pretty sure he is like 6 and 7, 7 and 8 in decisions. Kutalaba obviously only 2 and 1, but it's like Kutalaba is probably going to land the hardest shots. He's going to be mixing in the takedowns a lot more than Bozer, and I really feel like the only way he gets finished is if he gets KO'd very late. I don't see Tanner Bozer winning all the minutes on the feet. I mean, maybe he can. He's a more technical striker, but I mean, dude, even like Bozer coming down from heavyweight, I don't even think he's the more powerful striker here, as fucking stupid as it sounds. Like, I don't rate this guy's finishing ability high at all. I mean, he's been over 1.5 in 7 of his 8 fights, and you know, it's like the guys he's losing to decision against. I mean, losing a decision to Ilir Latifi is, I mean, it's mind-boggling. His last 2 finishes are Rafael Pessoa, who's been knocked out 4 times since being knocked out against Tanner Bozer, and he finished a fucking 40-year-old OSP. This is a spot that Kutalaba, they're giving him this fight. I mean, they are like, yo, like, if you can't come out here and beat Tanner Bozer, we're done with you. I mean, this is it. We know you can get this fight to the ground. All you have to do is pass full mount, and you probably win the goddamn fight. But he's 1-4-1 in his last 6. It's very hard for me to trust a guy like that. His cardio didn't even look bad against Devin Clark. I mean, he was just taking Devin Clark down, and he did what Devin Clark does to his opponents. I mean, maybe I'm going to look at it now while I'm on camera, guys. So just wait here for a second. I'm checking to see what decision only is on Kutalaba. It's +1. Wow, +165. Maybe I thought I could get a little better than that. But I don't think it's a bad look. I mean, Kutalaba only has 2 decision wins. 1 decision loss. His last decision loss was against Jared Cannonier in the fucking Ultimate Fighter finale. So yeah, I don't hate it at all. And it's like, you look at the guys who's finishing him, it's like Ankalaev twice, really nothing to be ashamed about there. Possibly be the champ right now. Ryan Spann via guillotine, and Tanner Bozer has absolutely no fucking credential BJJ whatsoever. The rear naked choke against Johnny Walker was a little concerning. I cashed my plus money on Johnny Walker in that fight, which was very nice. And the Kenny Njoku fight, like, it concerned me in that fight too, because he hurt him in like the first 12 seconds and then just shot a takedown. But if he's able to take down Kennedy, who had the highest takedown defense rate in the division, and kind of control him in round 1, it's like, how is he not the minute winner in this fight? So, yeah, Kutalaba, oh my God, I can't believe I'm picking another fight to go to decision, especially this one, but I'm picking Kutalaba by decision. And might get to his decision-only prop, but I want to bet his KO too, because, I mean, you watch Tanner Bozer on the ground, it's like literally all you have to do is pass full mount on this guy, and you have him. You have him where you want him. But let's move on. What we got here? We got Dustin Jacoby versus I'm very hyped for this one, versus Mirzakhanov. And yeah, we got Dustin Jacoby, who is pulling up the stats real quick. He's 6'1" with a 76-inch reach, And we got Mirzakhanov, who's 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. Mirzakhanov fighting out of the Southpaw stance, out of K Dojo Warrior Tribe. And we got Dustin Jacoby fighting out of Orthodox, training at Factory X. And Jacoby's going to have the 5-inch reach advantage and have the 4-inch height advantage as well. Great fight here as well. You know, I really pre-tape was leaning Jacoby, and I'm like, okay, once this line gets minus 150, I'm gonna smash him. I'm gonna smash him for 1.5 units. I'm not gonna look back. Then I did the tape, and I watched how Mirzakhanov is. Dude, this guy is very highly intelligent on the feet. Makes tons of good reads. I mean, in the top room fight, I mean, that knee and the way he was able to make that read was very disgusting. I mean, it was 1-1. I don't think he was losing that fight, and he beat the crap out of Devin Clark. He was hurting him with almost every single left hand he was landing. This guy has 9 of his 11 wins by TKO/KO. And on the other side, we got Dustin Jacoby, who has only been knocked out once in his career. But I go back and I watch his tape, especially with the way that Mirzakhanov fights. It's like I went back and watched the Olachasek fight. Olachasek has lots of power. Don't get me wrong. He kept landing that left hand a lot, but I think Mirzakhanov is more technical than Olachasek. I think he throws his punches way more straight. And when Olachasek was throwing his punches straight, he was rocking Jacoby every time in that fight, man. Every time. Understand Jacoby had a bad leg in that fight. He had a leg injury, but the tape is the tape, and he's very open to left hands. He likes to kind of like maintain range, uses body kicks, uses leg kicks, uses his height and reach as his advantage. But dude, guys, I think Mirzakhanov is gonna knock Dustin Jacoby the fuck out. I took his KO at plus 320 for 0.32 units. Knowing that Dustin Jacoby's only been knocked out once in his career, it's like the tape is just very eye-opening. He just leaves a lot of openings at range, and Mirzakhanov's power is legit. He's a very high-level striker. He makes just such good adjustments. I was so shocked. Honestly, I'm like, okay, this guy's still a tough wound, and he beat him in round 3, and then he beat Devin Clark. It's like, okay, Jacoby should really win this fight. But there's a reason why Mirzakhanov is only plus 135 here, and it's because he's legit. I think he is a legit striker, and I think he's kind of a force to be reckoned with in this division. I think Jacoby won the last fight against Khalil Roundtree, but you watch Roundtree, he was landing, but Roundtree just throws straight power and no technical behind his shots. I think that Mirzakhanov is the most powerful technical striker that Dustin Jacoby is facing at the UFC level so far. John Allen, not an impressive win. Darren Stewart just doesn't impress me either. I mean, Justin Lundett, fucking dog shit. Justin Lundett is terrible. But yeah, he is 7-1 in the UFC. He's 6-3 in the UFC. Arguably should be 7-4. But yeah, I'm taking Mirzakhanov by KO. I think the left hand is going to land. He throws it like a pistol, and he throws it straight with speed, man. And I think he has the finishing upright in this fight. I was going to take the finish only, but Dustin Jacoby can be live for a late finish here if he works the body early and he starts to work his kicks early. But he better be on, because Mirzakhanov is going to have an answer to counter the leg kicks. And the answer is going to be to throw that left hand. And when that left hand hits and it hits people's chin, they fall. They fall. So, yeah, I see Jacoby's a heavy betting guy this week at minus 150. I don't hate it, but don't be shocked if he gets knocked out here, because I mean that's what I think is going to happen. That's my tape read. That's my study on this fight, and I wanted to bet Jacoby here, but I think Mirzakhanov is the real deal, and I think he's going to really show it why here, and possibly could be getting his name in the top 15 if he gets a finish in this fight, which I do think. So I bet the Mirzakhanov by KO. I think Mirzakhanov is going to win by KO. I'm going to take Mirzakhanov KO in round 1. I think he might get Dustin Jacoby out of there in the first round. But let's now move on to the co-main event. We got Edison Barboza versus Billy Q, firework fight. We got Barboza, who is 37, he's 5'11 with a 75-inch reach. And we got Billy Q, who is 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. He's going to be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage here. And we got Barboza with 12 more professional fights, as Barboza has 15 more UFC fights. He's been around the block forever. He's basically an OG. And yeah, I'm going to keep this one short. Billy Q, we obviously know Billy Q starts very slow starter, and picks it up in round 2. Very good way to get the price down on Billy Q. And we know Barboza has tons of spinning kicks, maintains range very well, and it was a little concerning that he got dropped against Bryce Mitchell in the last fight. We know Bryce Mitchell is not really known for his striking, and he kind of cleanly dropped Barboza with a left hand. And we saw Shikate just kind of drain him as well, but it was a lot of the body shots that were kind of landing up to that finish. Yeah, I bet the fight starts round 2, parlayed with the Rafa Garcia money line. If you guys are following me on Twitter at MMA_Propaholic, currently $13 away from 1,000. So thank you, everyone. I did my collab with Pick by Pegasus on Twitter, and yeah, we just came to a very clear agreement very early on this parlay. I just really think it's a good spot. I'm about to pull it up now. If you guys aren't subscribed to Uncle Weezy's Patreon, please go subscribe to that. Because he comes out with all these analytical stats, and it's easily just the best analytical stats of anyone in this game. And let's get back to it though. 23 of 26 combined fights are starting round 2, my bad. So that's just an absolutely amazing number. And the Rafa Garcia money line, which I'm just very confident in. We got that parlay for -128 for I threw it for 1.02 units. Maybe honestly should have went 2 units on it. I'm really confident in the parlay. I really like our pick that we gave out this week. Like Billy Q against Hernandez. I remember they opened the under 2.5 at +175. I'm like, well, thank you for that number. No, what the fuck the bookies were smoking, giving it under 2.5 at +175 in a Billy Q fight, but I don't think Billy Q finishes Barboza here. I think Barboza is more skilled than Billy Q on the feet, which Billy Q really hasn't seen. I mean, obviously Shane Burgo is very skilled on the feet, but he's just more of a walking aggressor and who just wants to throw absolute bombs against you. So I can see Barboza winning the first round. Obviously, Billy Q likes to drop first rounds, and just live bet Billy Q. I don't see it. If someone got finished in the round 1, I think it's Billy Q getting finished. I don't think it's Barboza getting finished. I would be shocked if someone really got finished in this fight. I think this fight goes to decision, and it's plus money, which is really shocking to me. But I'm not betting a fight goes in a Billy Q fight. I'd rather just bet the fight starts round 2, where he comes out very slow. So, yeah, fight starts round 2, -360. I'm going to pick Billy Q to win this fight by decision. I'm sorry that I'm giving all these fights by decision, but this just isn't a violent card this week, guys. I glanced at next week's card. I cannot wait to break down next week's card. It's straight violence. And I'm actually starting to film right after I film this video. So, now we have finally made it to the main event. We got Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. And we got Max Holloway. Let me see, just loading up the stats. Sorry. Max Holloway, who is 5'11 with a 69-inch reach. And we got Arnold Allen, who is 5'8 with a 70-inch reach. Arnold Allen fights out of the southpaw stance, and Holloway fights out of the orthodox stance. And, we know Max Holloway, one of the most durable featherweights of all time. I mean, just watch the Volkanovski fight last fight. The Cater fight, unbelievable. This guy brings it every single time when he fights. And, what do we know about Arnold Allen? He has never been 5 rounds. He was looking pretty good up against Cater, but, Calvin Cater, I had a bet on Calvin Cater, man, and oh my God. First ever bet I've lost due to an injury, and it's just like, I don't even know what the hell he was attempting when he went for a flying knee. I don't know what he was, trying to do. He just popped his knee, tore his ACL, and it stung, man. So Arnold Allen didn't really get to show off his whole entire arsenal in his last fight. But what I didn't like going into that fight was Allen was using Zoom calls. I understand, like, Max Holloway can do that. I mean, Max Holloway is one of the best strikers ever at 145, but probably hot take, maybe behind Volkanovski now. But yeah, I don't think you're finishing this guy, regardless of how many times this guy's been hit in the face. He's never been knocked down. I don't think Arnold Allen is the guy to do it. Maybe Arnold Allen could like try to wrestle here. Maybe he can go for a guillotine. This Holloway has been in some pretty bad spots, and he was put in bad spots against Rodriguez. It could happen here. But I bet the over 1.5 same game parlayed with Max Holloway money line, and I got -110. Bet it for 1.1 units. Like I'm really confident in it. I don't think Max Holloway is going to finish Arnold Allen in the first 7.5 minutes. And I feel like as the fight goes, Max Holloway is just a way better fighter. Probably is going to have the better cardio, but we haven't really seen Allen tested into a fifth round. But I mean, we're going to see it here, man. Both of these guys are going to bring violence. I was thinking of the fight doesn't go, but I feel like the more finishing upright is on the Holloway side. Bet River's open. The finish only at -141. I'm in my car on break. I'm spamming to pull the trigger. Then it moves to -155. And then I'm pretty sure it moves to -180. Then I'm like, okay, I'm kind of going to just stay away from here. And what made me kind of just not do it either was also because I had Peloton finish only last week on a main event. And yeah, that kind of brought me down on that night. So yeah, I'm gonna pick Max Holloway to win this fight. The Holloway 4-5 KO prop on FanDuel combination is it's like plus like 1,600, which I just thought was crazy. Yeah, I think Max is gonna win this fight. This is a huge step up for Arnold Allen. Going from Dan Hooker, who had a fucking just a horrific weight cut, and fighting Cater, who kind of just tore his ACL and training for it over a Zoom call, kind of just really susses me out about the guy. But he's 19-1, definitely skilled. People have been sleeping on him. I've been sleeping on him. I slept on him in his last fight, but it's like, did I really sleep on him with Calvin Cater tearing his ACL? There's just so many unanswers, and we already have the answer for Max Holloway. So yeah, I really like Max in this fight. I think this is going to be a great main event. I think this is going to be a very good card, but that's going to do it, guys. We just broke down 14 fights. I gave you guys all my bets, all my predictions. Probably going to get like 3 to 4 more bets. Really not a heavy betting card for me, guys. This is a pretty tough card from a betting perspective, but fan perspective, I really like it. Zach Cunnings versus Ed Herman, probably my favorite fight of the night. I mean, what a banger that is. I mean, combined, those guys are 80 years old in that octagon, so they might have to get the crop dust out of there after the fight. And oh my God, imagine if they have Keith Peterson in there, man. Oh, what a fight. Oh, what a fight you got, man. You put Keith Peterson in there, please. Because when Keith Peterson's in there, he just clearly doesn't give a shit about anything. He's already drunk off the Hennessy, and he's smoking cigarettes with Sandman from ECW. I mean, I've seen it happen. He might be Sandman in disguise. I don't know. But that's going to do it, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying these full card breakdown videos. I really love them. Plan on doing a lot more of these. I'm going to do a betting breakdown video tomorrow once I conclude all my bets. I'm going to try concluding them before Saturday now so I can get out a betting breakdown video. I don't usually post betting breakdown videos because I always like to post some last minute bets that I sometimes I don't discuss on the channel. So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys like it. Comment, drop a like, subscribe. Make sure you guys are following me at MMA_Propaholic on Twitter, where I post all my bets and all my breakdowns. I'll drop the link to my Discord in the below as well, so you guys can join the Discord. And thank you everyone for tuning in. 2 more days until fights. Let's get it. Let's ride out this Friday. Let's finish this Friday on a high note. And peace out, guys. Thank you for tuning in.